Every now and then, a game slips through the cracks when it releases. It doesn't have the same kind of marketing budget or studio clout to compete for mindshare of some of the more heavy hitters of the industry. Then you start browsing the game store, and by chance you stumble upon a game and say, damn, where have you been hiding all this time? What's going on, everyone? This is Invader, and welcome to my review for Pumpkin Jack on the Xbox Series X. This game was developed by solo developer Nicolas Meissonier and published by Head Up. I bought this game during the Halloween sale for about $24 Canadian, but it usually retails for roughly $40. Get your pumpkin spice latte at your side as we dive into the Halloween epic adventure of Pumpkin Jack. So let's start off first with the story of this title. It starts off with the devil, the ruler of the underworld, just being bored. Nothing's really going on, and he wants to create some action. All the good stuff like war, bloodshed, and the likes. He then concocts a fiendish plan to spice things up by unleashing a curse upon the human realm of boredom. He sends armies of monsters, ghouls, and all kinds of nasties to the land. It turns out that people don't like being attacked by terrible hordes of monsters, so they turn to somebody who can help fight back. A wizard is summoned to help fight against the devil. In response to this, the devil, not wanting to be outdone, summoned his own special agent, the Great Pumpkin Jack. Jack serves the will of the devil, though reluctantly, and heads out on a mission to seek and destroy the humans' champion, the Wizard. In return for this, the devil will forgive Jack's misdeeds and grant him passage to the afterlife. You won't be venturing out alone either. Along your journey, you have with you a wisecracking crow that delivers some really fantastic one-liners, and an owl that's supposed to help guide you along your way. The gameplay is familiar, taking inspiration from classic platformers such as Jak and Daxter and Medieval. You travel across a variety of worlds in third person, using physical attacks to dispatch your enemies. Each level has its own unique weapon you can add to your arsenal after defeating a boss. You're also able to use your crow friend to send out a singular ranged attack that's useful when you're mobbed by enemies or during a quick time section. Speaking of which, during your journey, you'll have to overcome different quick-time travel sections. Some areas require you running out of an area, or you'll be in a minecart jumping across the track gaps, or galloping across a swamp with a horse. Occasionally, there are sections where you'll need to complete puzzles in order to progress, and for the most part, you'll be doing this without your body, using only your head. These puzzles involve memorizing patterns or maneuvering objects along a path. They are okay overall, but nothing too exciting. Each level offers its own unique boss fight. I enjoyed the majority of the battles as they have a certain personality or distinct look to them. With that being said, they're not too difficult to overcome, they're kinda easy, but I did really enjoy them. For the most part, the color palette is cartoony, and that's very deliberate. Again, this game is meant to be reminiscent of prominent 3D platformers of the past. However, I would say that it does stand out well on its own. It's quite colorful for the most part, and has some nice little details. Characters stand out well, and the environments are really unique across the board. Each level has a vibrant yet eerie atmosphere to it, and it really brings a memorable personality and look to the game. Going into the audio and sounds for Pumpkin Jack, and I've got to say that I really enjoyed the soundtrack. Across the various levels and worlds, there's a really nice moody score to it. Imagine the usual Halloween kinds of sounds you hear in movies, but more amped up in the game. It doesn't get cheesy, and overall is very enjoyable during your playthrough. It doesn't get too dark, and manages to actually be very upbeat. This game relies on text to convey its story. Dialogue is presented in a text box while characters speak in either noises or grunts, akin to something along the lines of Banjo-Kazooie. Aside from the game narrator, you'll be getting most of your information through this form. It works well for the most part. This isn't a huge AAA game, so I understand the constraints of budget assets. Either way, I liked the way it was conveyed. My playthrough took me about 7 hours to complete. I took my time going through the levels, I was looking for collectibles and combing the various areas for Easter eggs. I would say that this title is rather short for its price point. However, with that being said, you may get a lot more out of this title than a lot of other platformers out there because there is a lot of personality here. On that note, this is the section where I summarize my points on both the good and the bad aspects of the game, starting off with the good. The gameplay is a fun reminder of 3D platformers of the past. The controls are well done, and it's a joy to play throughout. The soundtrack, it's very moody and has a delightful charm to it. It oozes with atmosphere and helps envelop you in this fantasy world. The art style is a big plus for this game. The worlds and enemies are colorful and defining. It's very enjoyable just roaming around, taking in the views while battling enemies. The story and characters in Pumpkin Jack are really amazing. The story itself has a lot of charm to it. At first it sounds grim, but it's actually quite the opposite of that. Not to mention the fact that all the characters have unique personalities to them, and you can't help but just like them, leaving with you a memorable playtime. Switching gears over to the bad aspects of the game, and the game length with just a bit over 7 hours of gameplay, this may disappoint those who enjoy meatier, longer game experiences. The pricing for this title may also be a bit off. This game regularly costs about $39 Canadian, and for the amount of time that you spend with it, it could cost a bit less, especially if the replay value isn't necessarily there in the form of collectibles and such. It's a bit of a shorter experience. Pumpkin Jack is a game that encapsulates the classic 3D platforming genre. It's got a wonderful cast of characters, fun dynamics, and a script that manages to keep you engaged throughout the game. While it doesn't have a lot to keep you coming back to it, it's still a title that you'll probably want to come back to and replay for its sheer charm. I highly recommend this game, and I hope to one day see a Pumpkin Jack 2 sometime in the near future. It's really impressive what some of these solo indie developers can do, creating worlds that can outclass AAA games in sheer enjoyment alone. Overall, I give Pumpkin Jack an 8.5 out of 10. So what do you all think of Pumpkin Jack? Is this a platformer that you'll be checking out? As well, what did you think of my review? Please let me know down in the comments. Thank you all for taking the time to check out my video. It was great having you here. Now it's time for me to get back to making some more content for you. Until next time, folks, Invader out.